everyone, my name is Professor Rad, and today we're going to talk about reciprocals. Before we get to talking about reciprocals, we are going to talk about fractions that involve 1. And we've seen this a little bit with some of the other things we've been working on, particularly simplifying. But just kind of as a refresher or a way of thinking about these topics, let's illustrate these two fractions and determine whether or not they represent whole numbers or fractions. So for example, let's illustrate the fraction 1/5. So I'm going to create a candy bar here and cut it into 5 equal pieces. So the denominator tells you how many pieces to cut it into, and then the numerator tells you how many of those pieces to color in. So our numerator is 1, so we just color in one of those pieces. Okay. So 1/5, we didn't eat an entire candy bar. So this one is not a whole number. Let's look at part B. Now in part B, it says we ate 5 things, and each of those things was only cut up into one piece. In other words, here's my first candy bar, and this candy bar was a solid chunk of chocolate, and I ate 5 such things. So here's 1, and now I need another candy bar. Here's 2, and another one. Hopefully these were small candy bars. 3, and we ate 5 of them. So here's 4 and 5. So 5/1 means that I ate, in reality, 5 candy bars, and each candy bar was just broken into one piece. So this one is a whole number. 5/1 is the same as just 5. I ate 5 candy bars, right? I don't need to say that they were each one piece, right? That's just how many I ate. So if you have 1 in the numerator of a fraction, you have to write it, because 1/5, it's not the same as 5. It's a piece of our candy bar. Whereas if you have 1 in the denominator, you don't have to write it, because it's like one object isn't one piece. So if I ate 5 of those pieces, I ate 5 entire things. We can check this with some division to see if we get a whole number. If I do 1 divided by 5, I get 0.2, so I get a decimal. Whereas if I did 5 divided by 1, I get 5. I get a whole number back. Okay. So not only is this going to allow us to write things like 5/1 a little bit more simply, but if I have a whole number and I want to write it as a fraction, this gives me a way of writing whole numbers in fraction form. So for example, if I have the number 12 and all of my other numbers are fractions and I just want to be working in fraction form, so everything's the same type of object, I could write that as just 12/1. So any whole number can be written in fraction form by throwing it over 1. Okay, so I said this video was going to be about reciprocals. So let's talk about reciprocals. We've laid some groundwork. Let's do a definition and find some things. So the reciprocal of a non-zero number can be found by switching the numerator and the denominator of the fraction. In other words, you take the fraction and you flip it. Okay, that's what we're going to do to find the reciprocal. So for this example, it says state the reciprocal of each number and then simplify wherever possible. So for 3/5, the reciprocal says flip it. So the 5 that was in the bottom goes into the top, and the 3 that was in the top goes into the bottom. So the reciprocal of 3/5 is 5/3. All right, let's try that over here. So we have the reciprocal of 1/9. So the 9 goes in the numerator, and then the 1 becomes the denominator. Now our direction said to simplify whenever possible, and I have a 1 here. So remember, if 1 is in the denominator, you don't need it. So this is going to simplify to just 9. So 9 and 1/9 are reciprocals. Right, and for the last one, we have 7. This is where this note comes in handy. Remember, any whole number can be written in fraction form by putting it over 1. So, in order to find the reciprocal, I'm going to think of 7 as 7 over 1. So then, the 1 that was in the denominator goes in the top, and the numerator of 7 goes in the bottom. So the reciprocal of 7 is the same as 1/7. All right, so I've got a few problems for you to try. Find the reciprocal of each of these numbers and then simplify your answer. Now, something you might have noticed is that normally in math we have symbols for everything, and we didn't have a symbol for reciprocal. We're going to talk about what that symbol is in the next video. So I'm looking forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, have a fantastic day.